Hi, I'm Lou. Another episode of My Car Story. I'm here with my buddy Herb Lederer. Herb, good to see you again.
Hi, Lou. It's good to be back with you.
And we've got another fantastic car from Herb's collection, so I'm going to grab the cameras I usually do. Thank you, Joey. So, Herb, first of all, what are you showing us here today?
Well, this is the 1912 Mercer Raceabout. It is in racing mode. All the heavy stuff has been taken off. The fenders, the lights. Some things haven't been taken off, but because we don't really go racing. But this car is in its lightest mode right now and ready to go racing. I'm ready to start it if you're ready to go for a ride.
We're definitely ready to see it start, but let me ask you just a little bit of the history. So the Mercer, where did it race?
Mercer raced successfully off the showroom floor in 1911, 12, 13, and 14. It raced in all kinds of places. Probably its biggest race was Savannah. By the time they got to Indianapolis, they had a purpose-built race car. But this was a road car, and it was built to be a very sporty car. I think it's America's first sports car. Agreed.
And not only that, but when you say race mode, we've taken off the headlights and the fenders. So this is what it looks like when it was time to race.
That's right.
Okay, let me first of all take a look at our main attraction. Come on back with me for a second, Herb. And we're looking at a car, first of all, tremendous color on this car. But we're looking at a car that is over 100 years old. And then we're going to start it for you. Now, my first question that I even have for Herb when we start this car is going to be, how do you start a car that's 100 years old? And he'll take us through the steps. So we're not only going to get to see his car as you're seeing it, and the light is hitting it perfectly, but you're going to see how you start a car like this. And this is just a tremendous vehicle. Let me move in on some of the pieces there. This is really a piece of from a museum for all intensive purposes. And we're getting the chance to video it here. Herb, share with me, what are some of the gauges that I'm featuring out? What is this gauge here, the odometer?
Well, that's the speedometer.
Okay.
And odometer.
Odometer.
This is the ignition.
Okay.
It has a 0, which is off, 1, which is one side of the magneto, and 2 is the other side. There is no battery. There's no electrical system. It has a magneto, which is a self-generating device, and when you start it, we'll start it on the number 1 position, which fires the spark plugs over the intake side of the engine.
Okay.
After it starts, you put it on number 2, and it fires spark plugs on both sides of the engine. It's a T-head engine, so you have a need to get fire across that T, and by having it fire on both sides, it's much more effective. And when we start it, if it starts, you'll hear the engine pick up speed when we switch the magneto.
Okay.
And it just becomes more efficient. This is a air pressure gauge. There is no fuel pump. So before we start it, I'll pump air into the gas tank, and that will give us pressure to send gas down to the carburetor.
Okay.
This is a gauge that shows that an oil pump is working. There is no pressure oil system in this car.
Okay.
But what it does, it pumps oil from the bottom of the pan up into a tray below the connecting rods, and then the connecting rods dip into the oil that's in there. If that stops flowing oil, stop your car, because you won't be getting any oil to the connecting rods.
Got it.
What is that's basically
tell me what
these this is a cutout, an exhaust cutout.
Okay.
I always run with it open because I like the way it sounds.
All right.
That's it.
And is this clutch and
this is
gas?
Clutch, brake.
That's brake.
Right.
Okay.
And brake here
all
also.
Right. Let me first of all, I want to get this one feature, this one emblem, the ID of the car. It's a series, what does that say, 35J?
Right.
Series 35J, number 694. We're actually going to call this video 2 when people see it, and they're going to say, why is this video 2? Because we will re-video this car when it has all of the running boards and pieces on it. And of course, every angle of this car is tremendous. These are your gas tanks, correct?
There's a gas tank and an oil tank.
Which one is which?
That's the oil tank.
Oil.
And it ends about here.
Okay.
And when they were racing, the riding mechanic would pump oil from that tank into the engine as needed.
Okay, now I've got a question for you. How do you pump oil?
There's a pump on the other side.
Okay.
There are two pumps. One is on that side. There are two.
Oh, okay. I see what Herb's talking about.
One is for pumping air into the gas tank.
Okay.
And the other is for pumping oil into the engine.
All right, and look at like some of the detail down there. Okay, and this is just a foot peg to hold on?
That's a foot peg.
Okay, all right. Kind of like
passenger.
Kind of like a motorcycle.
On this side, there's a foot peg, and the accelerator is outside the car.
Okay, so is that you push that with your foot too?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then share with me these
This
levers
is a
here.
handbrake.
Okay.
Which I use when I'm driving.
Okay.
The handbrake operates the brakes on the rear wheels.
Okay.
The foot brake operates a brake on the drive shaft.
Okay. And
gear shift is here. It has 4 speeds forward and a reverse.
how does this shift in a 1907, correct?
Yes.
I mean, is it smooth? Is it?
Oh, this is a wonderful shifting
Okay,
car.
beautiful. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Ken Purdy was one of the early authors who thought these cars were absolutely wonderful. And I read all that stuff and I thought, oh, that can't be. Until I got in one. I went for a ride and a drive and decided that was really a wonderful, wonderful car. Very well thought out, engineered. The engine is mounted in a subframe, so it's lower in the frame than it normally would be. The clutch and transmission are a large unit, and they're in the middle of the car, and then you have the differential in back. So you have a car that's balanced. And,
interesting.
And it handles like a dream.
Well,
It's,
a couple more questions.
wonderful.
I see another pump now that you've mentioned it on this side. What's the pump on this side?
That pump is for air.
Okay.
And I'm going to pump some air into the tank.
And this is your horn.
That's
Let's
the horn.
Do that one more time. Okay, that was good.
Right.
Herb, one more question before.
Go ahead.
This is your trunk.
That is. You can take maybe a couple sandwiches and a few tools.
Got it. Okay, so
It's not very big.
we're pumping air.
Pump air up until we have about 1.5 pounds of pressure.
And how do you know that?
By the gauge on the dash. You see it moving.
Oh yeah, there we go. See that
We're
gauge
very
moving?
low on gas, and so it's going to take a long time to get it pumped up.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of air in there. And once it's pumped up, we'll be ready to try and start the car.
And here's your horn that you just heard.
There's a hand control for gas here, and a control for the spark, for advancing and retarding the spark.
Okay.
So,
I love.
okay, we've got enough air in there. We're about ready to go.
I love the
Plus, on a hot day,
mirror on the.
expands the gas
Okay.
and does that. I'm going to prime the engine because it hasn't been running a while.
Okay.
And these are 4 priming cups. They go into each cylinder, and you just put gas in them. They're open. Well, I should leave them closed. You put gas in, then open them.
I gotcha.
Lets the gas run down into the cylinders.
And is this the intake manifold? Because I see your.
That's the intake
Okay, because I
manifold.
see you spilling some gas on that, and if it's the exhaust manifold,
Right.
we don't want it. We need a fire extinguisher too.
Well, we have one.
So, all right, we have one. Check out the
Never
fan.
leave home without it.
Never leave home without it. You can see the fan. But what's this breather? Just a
That's
breather?
a breather,
Okay.
and that's where you
I'm
fill
going
oil.
to ask questions, of course. What is
Magneto.
that? Magneto. There's
And
some words on there we'll be able to read.
Okay,
Herb's
we've
opened it
just
up.
let gas into each cylinder.
Notice this got 8 spark plugs. There's some on that side.
Right.
And some
This
on
is the
that
intake side. We're going to put this to the number 1 position.
Okay.
Open the throttle and start cranking and see if it'll start.
cranking your car.